Hello everybody. Thank you to Borough University for the kind introduction and for the opportunity to speak with you all here today on the challenges of humanities and social sciences and if they will flourish or perish in the digital age. I work in marketing, so before engaging with any project, I try to get a good sense of the audience I'm speaking to, their pain points, and the big idea behind whatever content campaign I am creating. Accordingly, when I was invited to talk to you all today, I wanted to speak with the Borough team to try to understand why this event is being framed as an existential moment for the humanities and social sciences. The answer I was given was very interesting. It seems that Borough University is playing a big role in the development of the Eastern Economic Corridor Initiative, which is very good news in both funding and prestige terms. However, unfortunately, it seems that the majority of the funding for these projects at the moment is being allocated primarily to the science and technology faculties. I guess this makes sense, as there are a lot of big infrastructure development projects happening, which would explain why science and tech need to be involved so much in these preliminary stages of the EEC. But I'm here today to tell you that the humanities and the social sciences have the potential to play a very important role in the future, both in the EEC and beyond. If you are able to tell the right stories to the right audience, you'll be able to succeed. But first of all, please allow me to tell you why I feel I'm qualified to discuss this topic with you here today. At one point in my life, I was on a very different trajectory, and I was all set for a career in academia. All of my qualifications are from this world: English literature, social sciences, education, and linguistics. They gave me a passion for storytelling and trying to understand society and our place within it. I also spent a few years on a PhD studying the concept of Thainess, or in Thai,ความเป็นไทย. At that time, it seemed like my destiny was to become a professor. Yet the PhD was derailed by complications in transferring my scholarship from the UK to Australia, as well as political problems here in Thailand around that time. For my PhD, I spent a lot of time in many locations around Thailand doing research, asking questions, and reading all I could find about Thainess in published literature and academic research, as well as reading seminal works from key figures in the social sciences, from Foucault to Bourdieu, from Chomsky to Piaget. I very much enjoyed the more than 10 years I spent studying in the humanities and the social sciences, especially the research writing and peer validation. However, I'm here to tell you today that peer validation is not enough. Too often, social sciences and humanities within academia are insular, engaging in a form of circular self-gratification. To give you an example of this trend that really sticks in my mind, a book like Pierre Bourdieu's Distinction is the ultimate example to me of this overly complicated, thick, heavy book that's written in an impenetrable register. The whole message of this book essentially is that your taste, your social habits are defined by your economic position and your access to privilege. While this is undeniably true, the way the book presents the argument ensures that the average person has never heard of Pierre Bourdieu, and if they were ever to open up his book, they would be immediately scared away by the overly dense, uber academic nature of what is essentially a universal truth that everybody would agree with. To some degree, this book, written decades ago, speaks to academia in the pre-digital age. But for you to resonate today, a very different approach is needed. For me, my academic career came to an end in 2014, and I found myself with a lot of time and mental energy on my hands. Where was I to go after the humanities? I'd been working as a writer and as a journalist to support myself during my PhD. So I decided to try to monetize those skills by applying them to the newly developed world of digital marketing. I formed my own company in 2015 called Lexicon. And over the years, we have grown quickly from just me to a company of over 50 people, offering video production, creative design, marketing strategy, social media, and of course, content writing. While these services on first glance may appear to be unrelated, they are actually all connected by one key concept, which is storytelling. Allow me to show you a little bit more of what we do.
Lexicon is Thailand's leading digital agency. Operating out of 600 square meters of creative space in Ceylon, we use brand storytelling to connect clients with their ideal target audience online. We create everything in-house, from video production in our own studio and on location, to digital strategy, social media, creative design, executive branding, and web development. Lexicon tells the story of many of Thailand's leading companies. We use cutting-edge project management tools to ensure seamless collaboration between all team members and departments. As our client, you'll have an entire team of Lexicon's talented storytellers working for you. But you will only deal with a single, friendly, and knowledgeable account manager who will ensure that every project meets or exceeds your expectations. So, what are you waiting for? Start telling your story and engaging with your target audience today.
So Lexicon has used storytelling to grow from one person to over 50, and we've had success working with many different types of clients, speaking to many different types of audiences. I'm here today to tell you that the humanities and social sciences are perfectly positioned to thrive in the digital age by using storytelling. But first, please allow me to define storytelling for you and unpack it as a concept. In Jonathan Gottschall's book, The Storytelling Animal, he redefines Homo sapiens as the storytelling animal. He explains how everything humans do is a form of storytelling. From our concepts of nations and religions relying on narrative, linear form with clear heroes and villains, through to how we gossip and make sense of our own personal histories through stories. Even how we reorganize the events of our lives through narrative as we dream. Given that stories are hardwired into the human experience, they have proven time and again to be the best way to resonate with people of all social and national backgrounds. Stories circumvent logic, and they tap into our primal instincts of curiosity, fear, love, and empathy. And who better to tell stories than you guys, the humanities and the social sciences? You have a deep understanding of how humans are really behaving, and also what motivates them in every era. In another book, The 7 Basic Plots, Christopher Booker explains how all stories throughout human history follow one of 7 basic plots. These basic plots cover ancient myths from all nations, cultures, and languages through recorded history. The same basic plots our species were using 3,000 years ago are still being used today. For example, the rags to riches plot archetype encapsulates stories like Cinderella, Dick Whittington, as well as Pretty Woman, as well as The Ugly Duckling, and thousands more familiar stories. In the same way, Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey monomyth lays the foundation for almost every adventure story ever told, from the enlightenment of the Buddha to the Odyssey, through to Gilgamesh, Beowulf, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, The Hunger Games, the list goes on. The structure of all of these stories is that a hero with a normal life meets a guide, goes on a journey, faces temptation and challenges, overcomes them, defeats a literal or metaphorical monster, and returns home as a hero with a new equilibrium. The 7 basic plots and hero's journey structures are so universal that we barely even notice them underpinning so many of the classic stories we know by heart. But that storytelling structure is always there. It's built into the DNA of a 3-act structure in the same way that the introduction, body, and conclusion form the 3-act structure of an academic essay. It was my time studying in the humanities and the social sciences that gave me my passion for trying to understand how humans behave in society, as well as for trying to engage them through narrative. And at Lexicon, I have tried to combine this passion for storytelling with a modified version of the hero's journey. In all of the creative work Lexicon does for our clients and for ourselves, we use this formula. This enables us to effectively connect with our target audience and ensures that we can help our clients to do the same. This 7-step process starts by identifying the hero. What is important for you to understand here today is that you are not the hero. Social sciences and the humanities are not the hero. Your audience is the hero. In marketing terms, the hero is the buyer persona. In order to tell the right story to the hero, we need to think about their demographics, their age, nationality, location, interests, as well as their pain points, concerns, and needs, and what questions they have about what you do, and any doubts they may have. We need to address these in our stories. In classical storytelling, the hero at the start of the journey is naive. They don't yet know they are about to go on a journey. They often don't even know they have a problem. Think of Luke Skywalker at the start of Star Wars for a classic example of such a hero. The next part is where you come in. You are the guide. The guide is the most important character in the story. They are the person that helps the hero to self-actualize by calling them to action, helping them to fulfill their potential. The guide has authority from having been on this journey many times before, and the guide has overcome all of the challenges that the hero is yet to face. But most importantly of all, the guide has empathy. They know how to communicate with the hero in language the hero can understand. Classic guides include Obi-Wan Kenobi from Star Wars, Gandalf from Lord of the Rings, the genie from Aladdin, Hamish from the Hunger Games, and perhaps even me today. But all joking aside, the humanities and social sciences have all the authority in the world. Through the data you gather from your ethnographic research, groundbreaking theories, and millions of weird and wonderful PhD topics from all over the world, ranging from the impact of soap operas on housewives to the effect of economic expansion on traditional communities. What is all too often lacking is your hero. So within the humanities and social sciences, we find ourselves speaking to ourselves very often. But if we want to have a broad appeal and thrive, we need to identify our target audience beyond our comfort zone so that we can craft stories that resonate more broadly. The remaining 4 steps of the Lexicon 7-step formula are about calling the hero to action, getting them to take action. So these actions may mean donating to a charity through a website. They may be engaging with a luxury car brand through Facebook. Whatever it is, the process works for all industries and with all audiences, as it puts the consumer at the center of the story. So think about this. What action do you want your hero to take? If we look around the world, we can see many successful examples of people from the humanities and the social sciences applying academic theories through popular media. Malcolm Gladwell has made a career out of pop sociology by applying incongruous research and data points with narrative storytelling, then packaging that all together in a way which provides practical insights into the lives of the masses. Steven Pinker is another scholar who has achieved mainstream recognition for his work. In books like The Better Angels of Our Nature and Enlightenment Now, he uses social sciences data to make compelling arguments about the general improvement of human society and our condition throughout history. These books are as research heavy as any scholarly work, with hundreds of notes and citations, and he writes in a manner that is accessible and, just as importantly, entertaining for a general audience. In a local context, Dr. Larry Persons does an excellent job of explaining anthropology in an engaging and easy to understand way.
Hi, I'm Dr. Larry Persons. I've lived and worked here in Thailand for over 35 years. I have a PhD in intercultural studies, and I'm the author of the book, The Way Thais Lead. And this is Explaining Thai Culture to Foreigners. So, here's a word, "kreng chai." English speakers struggle to explain this Thai value. It's one of those exhausting things, like it takes a whole paragraph to explain one word, and even then you feel like you did a lousy job. Well, let's try. Kreng chai is a feeling. It's something you feel, something you're supposed to feel, and often if you're going to be an acceptable person in public space. Literally, it means fearful heart. Oh, what's to be afraid of, you might ask? Loads, man, open your eyes. Confrontation, conflict, being impolite, not showing proper respect for status, looking greedy, being inconsiderate of others, inconveniencing someone, boundary busting, making someone lose face, losing your own face, and there's more. We just don't have the time. Now understand, Thais act like this is hardwired in them. It's like common sense. If you're not aware of this part of Thai culture, it can really mess up your day, like in these 3 scenarios. Scenario 1, you order a dish at a restaurant. Your server returns with your food and it's not at all what you ordered. What happened? The server didn't understand your order but was too kreng to admit it. To avoid this, always get your server to repeat your order back to you. Scenario number 2. You're excited about a big transformation at work and you want ideas from your Thai team. Speak up. Tell me what you think. It's okay to disagree with me. They're all dead silent. Great, then let's do this, you say. Turns out, you don't have buy-in. They've got plenty of ideas and concerns, but they're all too kreng to speak up in front of a group of peers. Be patient. Make sure you really want to listen and try soliciting feedback one-on-one outside of meetings. Scenario number 3, you have a Thai girlfriend and you're eating dinner. Out of nowhere, she snaps at you. You always chew with your mouth open. It's so gross. Seems like a huge overreaction, but this has been months building up. She was just too kreng to tell you. She got more and more annoyed until she just couldn't take it. In any relationship, communication is vital and complicated, doubly so in intercultural relationships. Encourage your significant other to risk being vulnerable about likes and dislikes. You'll have a much better time. These are just a few examples of kreng in action, but it can affect your daily life in countless ways. Understanding kreng will help you in your social interactions with Thais. If you're confused, just ask a Thai. No need to kreng them. They'll probably be happy to explain. I'm Dr. Larry Persons, and this was Explaining Thai Culture to Foreigners.
Dr. Persons here is talking to both Thai and expats, making them the hero. He is breaking down the ever-present concept of kreng that most people take for granted and rarely ever address. He is providing a gateway drug into the world of sociology. He is truly acting as a guide. So again, who is your hero? I was invited here today with one eye on the EEC and how funding is being allocated primarily to sciences and technology. With the emergence of the EEC will come all sorts of other issues and opportunities, cultural, societal, and linguistics. These issues present you with innumerable potential heroes to guide, if you can find the right story to tell. For example, like the EEC, Thailand 4.0 is another major initiative being pushed by the government that supposedly presents a blueprint for Thailand's technologically advanced, interconnected future. However, not everybody is convinced that Thailand 4.0 is going to succeed. Allow me to return back to Dr. Larry Persons for a moment. So Dr. Persons has a PhD in intercultural studies and published his research findings in the seminal book, The Way Thais Lead. His book is a fantastic example of applying theory, and it's helped me personally to understand the business landscape of Thailand much better. Yet the book is not just for foreigners. It is full of rich insights into the hierarchical power structures of Thai society. He unpacks concepts like Giat, Nata, Bun Kun, Barami, and gives rich, easy to understand examples which combine his research with his own theories, and all of it backed up by building on the prior research of other academics. All of this is very much academic best practice. However, Dr. Persons isn't just resting in the classroom and in the library. As well as lecturing at SASIN, he's also a practicing business coach and keynote speaker. At the moment, his core storytelling focus is on Thailand 4.0. Specifically, how Thailand 4.0 is going to be impossible without a shift towards Thai values 4.0. By this, he means that the people of Thailand will need to re-examine many of their cultural norms to identify which of these are beneficial and which may be holding the country back. Some aspects of Thai culture, for example, the importance of social hierarchies, the concept of face, and an aversion to voicing criticism may need to be updated if Thailand is to play a more prominent role on the regional and global stage. Dr. Persons has all of the authority in the world from his academic and practical experience, as well as his doctorate, as much as from his impressive client list. However, where Dr. Persons shines is by using storytelling to develop a strong personal brand and empathy to position himself as a guide, by regularly explaining his concept of Thai Values 4.0, not just in academic papers, but through memes, articles, podcasts, videos, all amplified effectively to his target audience through social media and online channels. Recently, Dr. Persons has been talking about how Netflix and their no rules culture could be applied to Thailand. Netflix famously has few operational rules as an organization. They trust their staff to act in the best interest of Netflix. There are no rules on expected working hours, entertaining clients' expenses, time tracking. But to achieve this open and free culture, Netflix focuses heavily on ensuring high talent density in the organization and encourages an open culture of direct feedback and candor, even to the CEO. I recently had the chance to sit down with Dr. Persons on my own Bangkok Thought Leaders podcast to discuss how the Netflix culture aligns with his own research.
Key point on talent density, what came to my mind when I was reading that, is that it does fly in the face of another model for most Thai companies. Most Thai companies are based on the family model. That's the metaphor. We're one big family. And I mean, there are people, for instance, many Thai Chinese companies, they've got someone an uncle who's been working there for years and years and years, and even after he can't do anything, they still retain him. And they really squirm at mass firings and all. But the idea of talent density is that you're willing to give up 3 or 4 average people if you can hire a rock star.
Yep.
And that seems like you're not supposed to be able to kick people out of the family, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
So that they would literally have to, any company would have to shift their thinking, I think, to say, no, we're more like a professional sports team, which is what they talk about.
Yeah, it's a powerful metaphor because, again, I think of Lexicon as a family. We struggle together, we go through things together, we succeed together. But the idea that, a sports team, as you said, it's about who's performing best. Like, we need gold medal winners.
What I love about Dr. Persons' work is that he's taking his research beyond the lecture hall. Too often, great ideas stay inside the humanities and social sciences because we don't know how to translate them to the broader culture.
How do we look to the future without rejecting our past here in Thailand? And the way to do that is the pathway of Barami, to walk that pathway, because what it involves is it's treating people with respect, but Barami leaders tend to create meritocracies. And if you talk, I do a lot of coaching and consulting here in Thailand, and if you talk to particularly the younger ones, the young gens, they're interested more in a meritocracy. They're asking for it. And Barami leaders are leaders who, from the first, they let virtue lead their decisions. They are fair in their decision making, and they're willing to correct people below them, but they do it with dignity and honor. And in the end, it turns into a meritocracy where the right leaders rise for the right reasons. And that's what we're all looking for, right, in a just society.
Dr. Persons makes me a hero of his stories, and I keep coming back for more. He genuinely guides me and helps me. By framing his messages in a digitally savvy way and adapting them to the real-world problems faced by his target audience, Dr. Persons is able to translate his authority in a way that shows empathy to his audience. As a result, he resonates. So as you move forward, try to identify your hero and think about ways you can use your authority and show empathy to guide the hero. Is your hero Chinese business people investing in the EEC? Is it Thai or foreign governments? Is it potential students? Whoever your hero is, you need to connect with them on their terms. And in the digital age, that connection is likely to be online. So develop your personal branding. Brush up on the essentials of storytelling. You may want to partner with existing online platforms or even to develop your own online platforms for storytelling. But to connect with your hero, you're going to have to find out where they congregate and speak to them on their terms. There are infinite storytelling opportunities in the humanities and social sciences. If you can tell these stories well, I guarantee you will thrive in a digital age. Thank you for your time today.